I don't usually talk too much about Jay-Z on my videos at all, really. I may mention black celebrities, and he's just a part of that group. But there is certain there is a certain forum for that, for discussing black celebrities and their responsibilities to the black community. I have come to the conclusion that many of them forget where they've come from. They become so um, wrapped up in the Hollywood scene, and they become so involved in the celebrity that they've gained on the backs of black people supporting them for years, such as Jay-Z, Beyonce, Oprah, Michael Jordan. The list goes on and on, of course. Your Steve Harveys, your Tyler Perrys. I can go on and on. But what I will say is that I don't agree with everything that he said. And it's not just what he said, it's the form in which he said it. Because he was on Van Jones' show doing this, making these comments. And the way he said it, if you watch his body language, and I really watch nonverbal cues when people are trying to convey a message. I watch their body language is very telling as to an indicator of what they are saying, the meaning behind their words. When it comes to criticizing black women or criticizing different members of black society, he is very free speaking. He does not curb his words. He does not. He's not as particular about what he says and how he says it. When it comes to speaking about Trump, I get it. He's the president, whatever. But when it comes to speaking about Trump, and not even Trump, Trump is a proxy for many white supremacists and white people, racist white people in this country. So you could just say his name and he would be representative of many white people in this country. Clearly, they voted for him. So that includes white women and many white children as well. But he made comments on Van Jones' show. Let's not forget, Van Jones was a Democratic, and still is a Democratic hack, a Democratic lackey through the Obama administration, and now after the Obama administration. He was one of the crying coons on CNN or MSNBC or whatever, who was crying after Trump won the presidency, after he made certain statements. I think this was earlier December maybe. So he was doing it. Giovanni, the one that was on the crying coon that used to be on TV1 with Roland Martin, also made statements. So it almost seems as though Van Jones was given a step up for this little show. And one of the first people he brings on his show, I think Jay-Z is maybe the first person he's had on his show, first person that's notable that's been on his show as a guest. He has him on, and I'm sure they made sure that Jay-Z wouldn't go too far off the deep end, meaning he wouldn't be too honest with what he had to say about Trump and African and Haiti comments that Trump said that these countries are shitholes, okay? So this article from Atlanta Journal-Constitution goes into detail about that. In case you've been living under a rock, I was going to read this article and follow up with more commentary. I've given commentary in the beginning, but just to set the stage for what the video is going to be about. So the article starts off by saying, after Jay-Z went on the Van Jones show Saturday on CNN and called President Donald Trump's alleged comments on Haiti and some African countries, quote, hurtful, end quote, Trump responded on Twitter. And they have a link to that, but it's also in here in the article too. Jones asked the rapper for his thoughts on Trump's alleged comments, which Jay-Z also said were disappointing. The rapper responded to Trump's claims of lowering the African American employment rate by saying that putting money in the pockets of African Americans through a surging economy doesn't excuse disparaging remarks. And Jay-Z said, money doesn't equate to happiness. But you a billionaire. And you saying, because most people that are watching this ain't billionaires, because billionaires really don't engage in, you know, peon type entertainment, because that's how they see us. Low citizen entertainment, useful eaters, as we're seen as consumer entertainment. They don't watch these type of shows. We didn't know about the show until Jay-Z was on it. But he said out his mouth, money doesn't equate to happiness. And I saw the video, and I remember him saying that. He said it very blatantly, like, not real matter-of-factly, like, yeah, that's the truth. No, nigga, that ain't the truth. If it was the truth, you wouldn't have been so-called hustling, selling drugs in the street, calling black women bitches and hoes for all these years. You know, being shiesty with Dame Dash and many of the other people with Rockefeller Records. You know, where Beanie at? Where Memphis Bleak at? Where all these other people at? Money may not equate to happiness, as you said, but you got a whole lot of money and a wife with a whole lot of money. So that don't make no sense. That was a straight contradiction for him to say that on the show. Anyway, going further. He said everyone feels anger about Trump's alleged comments. But after the anger, it's really hurtful because he's looking down on a whole population of people. And he's so misinformed because these places have beautiful people, Jay-Z said. Meanwhile, he won't give money to these beautiful people in these other countries. And Trump is not misinformed. He knows exactly what the hell he's saying. And he knows exactly what the hell he means. And he knows who is going to be listening to him and who agrees with him. They voted for him, duh. He's not misinformed. If he was so misinformed, he would not have made it to the White House. When someone is misinformed, meaning that they're ignorant, that's what he meant to say. Misinformed is a euphemism for ignorant. He ain't ignorant. Trump knows what the fuck he doing. Sorry, y'all. Trump knows what he's doing. Jay-Z is black. Jay-Z is a victim of white supremacy. Therefore, he is probably confused. The chances of Jay-Z being confused are very high compared to the chances of Donald Trump being confused are extremely low. He's white, he's male, period. That makes him 100 times smarter than Jay-Z. Just on that, those two alone. Not smarter as far as intelligence, but more informed of how the system works. I'm not saying Jay-Z's dumb. I'm saying he's ignorant to how the system works. Then they go on to say, the rapper likened the problem of racism in America to trash. Jay-Z said, quote, you don't take the trash out. You keep spraying whatever over it to make it acceptable. And then, you know, as things grow, then you create a superbug. And then now we have Donald Trump, the superbug, end quote. Then he went on, Donald Trump is a human being too. Somewhere along his lineage, something happened to him. And he's in pain. And he's expressing it in this sort of way, he continued. So Donald Trump's a white supremacist and he's in pain. Was Donald Trump in pain, Jay-Z, when he called for the execution of the Central Park Five? Was Donald Trump in pain when he put a C at the top of applications for people who wanted to obtain housing? And he was sued for housing discrimination, when he was sued for employment discrimination from the federal government? Was he in pain then? Was Donald Trump in pain when his father gave him a loan to start a business? What was it, like a $1 million loan or whatever to start a business? Was he in pain then? No, what Jay-Z's doing, he's assuming the people watching him are stupid. And he may be right in some cases. He is minimizing a white supremacist mindset through speech, thought, and action. A white supremacist system that works through speech, thought, and action. And he's minimizing that whole system to somebody taking trash out, to somebody spraying over trash. Like we're in freaking kindergarten. Like we don't know how to process what the system is, how it works, and who operates it. He's saying Donald Trump is a super bug. You don't blame the bug for, in this particular analogy that he gave, or allegory he gave, you don't blame Donald Trump completely as a super bug. You blame the motherfucker that didn't take out the trash. Okay? You blame them. Why you didn't take the goddamn trash out? So spraying over it and pretending it doesn't exist, I understand what he was saying with that. But instead of using metaphors, analogies, and allegories and similes and all this other bullshit, you need to just come out and say what it is. Donald Trump's a white supremacist and something needs to be done about it. People who are, he's a proxy for white supremacists out here killing us in the streets. And the minute one of these white supremacists, race soldier cops or non-cops who just kill black people willy-nilly and get off for it, the minute they go to prison, this will stop. And I'm going to dedicate myself to make sure that they go to prison, that they are punished for what they've done to the black community. That's the type of thing a person would say if they're looking for leadership, if they're looking to aspire to a leadership position. Jay-Z's not looking for that. All he wants is the money. And I'm sure they had to twist his arm to bring him on a Van Jones show, because I have never seen him on television, on a news thing, news forum before. If I'm wrong, please let me know. But yeah, he wow. Let me go on. So Trump reacted to the CNN interview early on Sunday, and here's the video of the interaction between Jay-Z and Van Jones on his show.
We have a president that comes and says every African country is a shithole country. And how does that land with you as a dad?
Yeah, it's like, it's disappointing and it's hurtful. It really is hurtful, more so. Like, everyone feels anger, but after the anger, it's really hurtful, because like you're looking down on a whole population of people, and you're so misinformed, because these places have beautiful people and have beautiful everything. And it's just like, this is the leader of the free world speaking like this. But on the other side, this has been going on. This is how people talk. This is how they talk behind closed doors. There was a moment where Donald Sterling had been exposed as this racist on a private phone conversation that he was having, and they took his team from him. And it's like, okay, that's one way to do it. But another way would have been, let him have his team, and then let's talk about it together, and let's maybe some penalties. But because once you do that, all the other closet racists just run back in the hole. You haven't fixed anything. What you've done was spray perfume on a trash can. And what you do when you do that is, the bugs come and you spray something, and then they come, and then you create a super bug, right? Because you don't take care of the problem. You don't take the trash out. You just keep spraying whatever over it to make it acceptable. And then, as those things grow, then you create a super bug, and then now we have Donald Trump, the super bug. I'm being funny. I think I say that too, but somewhere along his lineage, something happened to him. Something happened to him, and he's in pain, and he's like expressing it in this sort of way.
There was something that he said that was interesting. I'm sorry about y'all. Sorry for it freezing up like that. Let me go back. Let's see.
Do it. Well, another way would have been, let him have his team, and then let's talk about it together, and let's maybe some
So
penalties.
that's another
But
thing that was
once you do
interesting.
that,
Let me pause it there. He also, for some reason, equated or compared, I shouldn't say equated, because he's not making equivalent statement between Donald Trump and Donald Sterling. They just happen to have the same first name, and I guess that just clicked in his mind at that time, which also alludes to his mental state when speaking about these things. He went from Donald Trump an extreme to Donald Sterling, which is an extreme. And saying, okay, well, we could have done something, come to an agreement, come to an understanding with Donald Sterling, and maybe, giving him his team back. Okay, you have to remember, Jay-Z is involved with the NBA. He did not own a team, but he was involved with people who own teams. He was probably sitting across the table from people who own teams, basketball teams. And he still sees that there could be an opportunity for him to get back into the NBA. Business-wise, of course. He ain't focusing on Big Three with Ice Cube and Allen Iverson and all the people that are doing good things over there. An independent NBA foundation, an independent NBA organization, or excuse me, basketball organization that is going to be equivalent to the NBA at some point. It's going to happen at some point. He ain't focused on that. He's still thinking like, you know, he's saying real slick, real careful words. He's choosing his words very carefully when even speaking about Donald Sterling's racist white supremacist ass. Okay, it's like, okay, maybe I'm wrong. Y'all can tell me about what you think about that in the comment section. But another thing is going back to the fact that he's talking about two extremes. Van Jones specifically asked him about Donald Trump, and Jay-Z went talking about Donald Trump and talking about Donald Sterling, then going back to talk about Donald Trump. Replay the video, relook at the video. You know, it's all over the place. So it's not just here at AJC, it's all over the place. But he flip-flopped back and forth to those two different extremes. Didn't Beyonce and Jay-Z just buy a house out here in California? If I'm wrong, let me know. Hey, I would like to be wrong. You know, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. But it's like, last time I checked, they bought a house here in California. And their daughter, Blue Ivy, she's of age to be in school. Unless she's being homeschooled, then it's a different story. But she's of age to go to school. And if she's in a regular school, a private school, charter school, public school, whatever, she's around white women. She's around white teachers. She's around white students. She's around non-white, non-black students. Some Asian, Hispanic, you know, whatever students. And I'm sure that, you know, judging from Jay-Z's expressed character and Beyonce's expressed character, the behavior that they have shown the world for a long time, I doubt they'll be in an Afrocentric school. They ain't going to Marcus Garvey school over there on Slauson, okay? You know, right there off Slauson, near Slauson, down the street from Ralph's. And the smoke shop right there at Slauson. They ain't gonna be over there, okay? They way up in the hills somewhere probably. But my point is, you go to the extreme to mention Donald Trump, Donald Sterling. Your child's teacher could be a white supremacist. If it's a white person, your child's nanny, if they are non-black, could be a white supremacist or a white supremacist collaborator to harm your child. Maybe not physically harm your child, but could harm your child psychologically. And this goes for everybody. It's not just Jay-Z, Beyonce. It goes for everybody. But my point is, he chose to, of course, answer the question, but he did not take it a step further. He just gave you a very light surface smattering of, yeah, this is what I think about Donald Trump. And gave a childish, in my opinion, childish metaphor to explain what it means when when people ignore the rise of a white supremacist like Donald Trump. I thought that was very critical at that point when he mentioned that. But I'm gonna go on. This is a tweet from C. That the anger is really hurtful. He's looking down on a whole population of people, and he's so misinformed. Okay, that was they were just copying and pasting his Jay-Z's quote from the actual video, which of course is not going to bring anything extra to the conversation. And then they say, oh, Van Jones kicks off his new show, whatever. That's just advertising for Van Jones. Moving on. And then Donald Trump responds by saying, somebody please inform Jay-Z that because of my policies, black unemployment has just been reported to be at the lowest rate ever recorded. That was January 28th. He up at 5:18 a.m. tweeting this, okay? When he should be working on helping opioid Andy and fentanyl Phoebe and carfentanil Carlton. That's what he should be doing. But he up here texting about this. Then he said, let's see, within the same minute, Donald Trump put again, Our economy is better than it has been in many decades. Businesses are coming back to America like never before. Chrysler, as an example, is leaving Mexico and coming back to the USA. Unemployment is nearing record lows. We are on the right track. Okay. And then they have a lot of comments here. So I'm going to see if I can look at these comments. Yeah, okay. I'm trying to find something that's not, run-of-the-mill white supremacist type stuff, because this is Atlanta Journal-Constitution. Okay, I don't see anything that's like very mind-boggling, anything like that. So anyway, I ain't got time. I know how I am. I have like zero patience for stuff, and I'll just go back to the top like I usually do. So like I said, this is Atlanta Journal-Constitution. I hope this is something that sparks a conversation, and if it doesn't, that's fine. With all my videos, it's fine. It's just I'm bringing the information because I want to have this as maybe a catalyst for some of my viewers, some of my subscribers. Maybe you want to make a video. Maybe you don't like